Hello, good evening. So tonight is Monday, January. No, we're in February. Holy moly. Okay, we're in February. It's February 12th. Um, so this is the Team Cup edition of Team Call for February. And I wanted to talk about Power Hour because this is something that I've watched a lot of videos recently. Like all last week, there was 5 videos done in um, the Beachbody Champions about how all these different people kind of approach power hours. And then I went through all of the trifecta training that Melissa put up with the training videos that she put up for the new trainings with her 2 success partners. And I really liked the video that I have the name this time. Amber, aren't you proud? Nikki. That Nikki did on Power Hours. And so I adjusted that a little bit for myself, and I wanted to also kind of add in some other things that just kind of like what I picked and chose from some of the different videos that really are helping me, because I feel like the last couple of days I've like really been doing awesome with power hours. And so I wanted to share that with you guys because it's something that is so important, and I realized I hadn't really effectively been doing it for a long time. So it's a really good way to condense everything and like really get your business knocked out in an hour a day, because you can do that in an hour a day. And I hadn't been doing that, and I've been spending all this time. And now all of a sudden I'm doing it really efficiently, and I'm spending less time, and I'm connecting with more people. So first I want to talk about like the general tips that I have for getting ready for, or like things that you can do to make your power hour more effective. And then show you how I break it down as far as like how much time I'm spending on each thing. So the first thing is, do it somewhere where you are totally isolated, not distracted. Um, I have my office like just off of the kitchen, and I'm not there because my desk is a disaster right now, like we talked about last week, and I'm still like not, still don't believe it. So there's no door on it, which is fine, like in the evenings when nothing is happening. But if I try and sit down on weekends, it is distracting. So that's just something that I have to um, kind of work around, or just do at a different time. Um, so then the next thing is, some people really like to listen to music when they do this. If you are familiar with Haley Christian, she basically has built her business using this method. She calls it the gangster rap connections. And she sits down, she cranks up her gangster rap because it makes her feel like a badass, and she busts out all her invitations in, in the quickest time as she can. And it like brings out the person she wants to be. And whatever kind of music, if you listen to music and that fires you up, put on music while you do this. Put in your headphones, or close the door and turn off the music. The next thing as far as like sound is, turn notifications off if you can. Like I work off both of my phone and my computer when I sit down at the same time, just because like sometimes my phone displays my friends list alphabetically, and that's easier for me. Or if I have to like check something on my phone, so like I need, like you can put your phone on airplane mode, and you can still have your Wi-Fi connection on, but you're not. But then at the same time, like you are going to get notifications, so you can set do not disturb. Like just play around with what works for you. But I always turn the sound off on my computer because the dinging distracts me. Even if something like visually pops up, I can ignore that a little bit better than having a dinging constantly as I'm doing things. So the next thing is, if you're going to be sending out all these messages and invitations and connections and talking to people, don't reply to anybody during your power hour. You can do that in pockets. You can do that while you're sitting on the couch at night watching TV. You can do that when you're in the bathroom at work. Don't use your precious power hour focused time to be responding to people, because when somebody messages you, that's you letting them into your space, um, and your time, and that's somebody else's agenda that is not on your list of things to do right now. They can wait. They're not going to go anywhere. it's totally fine. Like we live in this, time of like instant social media, but people can wait for you to respond to them if you're in the middle of something important like your power hour. The next thing is, I make a list of people that I want to connect with before I sit down for my power hour, because I don't want to be spending my time scrolling through and looking for people to connect with. And I make that list off of, people who've interacted with my posts in the last couple of days, people I need to follow up with. Um, I go through my lists of people I've connected with over the last, couple of months, or even like go through my chat history or my texts. And I make a list of people that I want to follow up with, or people that I want to reach out to again, who I haven't really talked to in a while. So I make that list before I sit down, and I have a list ready to go, and then I can just go through and fire things off. And it works really well. Another place that you can get like a really good list from is if you have a challenge group going, you can go through and see who your challengers are. Or if you have a list of challengers that you're making for each accountability group that you're in, or each accountability group that you do, keep a running list of that kind of a thing. And then you can just go through and pull from that list. And then the last thing is, which is probably the most important thing that's really, really helped me, has been set a timer. Like, this is so important. Set a timer for each activity that you do. And the reason for that is when you have a set time limit, you're going to work in a much more focused manner. So like if it's just like in school, our teachers gave us a week and a half to write, 10 days or whatever to write a paper. And it would take us 10 days to write a paper, and we would still be up late the night before finishing it, because that was the amount of time given to us. If we had, an hour for an exam, we would put down our pencils at the end of an hour, and that's when we'd be done. So this is why setting a timer is so important for each of these things. So I went through a bunch of these different, how people do their power hours, and I kind of put together the ones that made the best sense for me, that took care of everything that I need. And then some of the things that were really important, I pulled out to do at a different time. So like for me, when I'm sitting down and focused, there are certain things that I have to do without any distractions. And there are other things that I can do kind of not on autopilot necessarily, but things that are easier for me to do, that are more fun, I guess. And that's things like checking in with challenge groups and checking in my team pages. So I don't want to use my power hour time to do that, because that's something that I would naturally do anyway. If I'm like, oh, I got to check, if I'm business, if I'm not super focused, but I'm thinking about my business, the things that come to mind are checking in on team pages, checking in with challenge groups, and things like that. So those are things that I personally pull out. I don't do those in my power hour. So the things that I do on my, like specifically on my power hour, and this is the time that I allocate for each of these things. Actually, one thing I should mention. So I'm going to talk about adding new friends, but before you go in and add new friends, go to your sent friend requests and go through and delete as many as you can. Like if there's people who have you sent them a request a long time ago and they haven't responded to you, get rid of them, because Facebook will recognize that you have a lot of outstanding friend requests and people who haven't responded back to you. And so like when you're going to add friends, you'll get a pop-up that says like, do you really know this person? If you're adding from groups and you don't know anybody in relationship to them. So Facebook will actually like limit the amount of people that you can request as a friend request before you get very far. So sometimes like if I haven't cleared out my friend requests, like I'll get 3 or 4 people in and it's like, do you know this person? At which point you have to stop, because Facebook will put you in Facebook jail if you request too many friends who you don't know. So before you go and start your friend requesting, be sure that that's cleared out. And even if you do it a couple of hours in advance, for some reason, I find that gives you, for whatever reason, like I'm able to request a few more people than I would if I just went through immediately before and deleted all my friend requests and then went back in and started requesting friends. Sometimes it still cuts me off kind of soon. So it just depends. So the amount of time that I spend doing each thing. So the first thing is requesting, new friends. And so I set my timer for 5 minutes to do this. So I do this in one of two ways. I go into recommended friends and I add friends of friends. And the other thing is that I go into groups. So I've got a couple of mom groups that I'm in, and I just go through. I don't even necessarily go to people's pages. I non-judgmental. Well, actually, that's not true. I think I'm extra judgmental when I do this because I go through and I just look at people's faces in their profile, and I'll scroll over their profile, see what their cover photo is, and if I feel like it's somebody that I would connect with, I send them a friend request. If not, I move on. And you just request, and these are all people who are in a mom's group, so I know that they're my people. They're not like some stranger, who knows. I mean, they are strangers, but they're people that I would want to connect with. Like my tribe right now is moms. So I spend 5 minutes doing that. The next thing is I spend an extra 5 minutes doing commenting on people's pages. And so if you're in the ABC challenge with Melissa right now, like you're spending more time on that than just 5 minutes. But I do spend an extra 5 minutes because it is really important. Yeah, hold on a second. Yeah, I know. I opened the damper and I opened the wood stove and I hadn't opened the damper. Does it smell bad? Okay, hold on. I have to open a door. Okay.
I told you should have went with the hot firefighter story.
I know, he's not even in here yet. He's like, it smells like from the garage. Not that bad, I swear. So the next thing is, so like you're gonna be spending more time on that now, but I do spend an extra couple of minutes just doing that. The next three things are probably I spend the most time on because I feel like they're the most important. I spend 15 minutes each on conversations with new people. And these are people that I've been commenting on their posts for a while. I've seen them comment on mine, and then I reach out to them. The next one is follow-ups. And so this is follow-ups with people, from the last 2 or 3 days that you've reached out to, who you've sent invites to, maybe you haven't heard from. A lot of times I'll go in and I'll say, hey, I don't know if you saw my message, but bleh. And a lot of times people will be like, oh yeah, I did. I just forgot to respond. And then, and just follow up with, people who you've been talking to who maybe said like, oh, follow up with me after the new year, or follow up with me in February, or follow with me in the spring. Add those people into your follow-ups. Is it really that bad? It was only open for like a second. Okay. And then the next one is 15 minutes on invites. And if you have more time, spend more time on invites, because that's what grows our business. Let me open one more door. Hold on. Okay. So invites, if you have the time, spend your time doing invites. And I mean, I don't have a whole lot extra to say about that. I mean, people that you everybody and anybody, you can do it one of two ways. You can just send cold invitations to people who you haven't really talked to much, or you can just do people who you feel more comfortable, that you already have kind of a relationship with, and you've been talking to them. Dogs making weird noises. And there's actually, if you go into the team page, there's a whole, I think the very first team call that I did was just on inviting. So if you need some help there, that's a good video. And then the last 5 minutes, just check in with your Coach Online office. Look and see how your account standing is. If you've hit Success Club in the past month, check in with your new leads. when you do start to get coaches, or if you do have coaches who are working, check their accounts, check and make sure everybody's active, check your placement. Like if you're going to sign somebody up, make sure they're placed on the right leg or where you want them to be placed. If you have questions about like where to place people or how to know, what is the right place, we can definitely talk about that. So then the bonus things that, like I was saying, that I do at other times throughout the day, those are things like definitely checking in with your challenge groups and checking in with your challengers separately. The beginning of the week and like Thursday are really good days to check in with challengers, because Monday is like the day after the weekend. People sometimes fall off and they need some encouragement, or they need to know that, you are actually paying attention. And, it helps people re-engage during the week. And then Thursday is a really good day because, maybe they've done 3 or 4 exercises and they're like, oh, it's Friday, I'm just going to take the day off tomorrow. And checking in with them and saying, hey, how are you doing? How's your week gone? What are your plans for the weekend? Just help people, remind people that just because we're coming up to the weekend doesn't mean that, they should be jumping off the bandwagon and making plans to go on a 3-day bar crawl. And the same thing with when you start having coaches, checking with them periodically too throughout the week. Check in with your team pages, check in with the upline team pages, and when you do decide, if you do decide to set up your own team pages, check in on your own team pages too, as well as upline team pages, and just make sure that you're engaging, you're connecting. This is why a lot of why we signed up to do this is for the community. We wanted to be part of something bigger. We wanted to be part of a community, be involved in the community, answer questions, ask questions, post in there, share what's working for you, ask questions about what's not working for you. That's why our teams are here. That's actually the last thing on my list. So questions or thoughts about what's been working for you or hasn't been working? I love the babies. Hi, guys.
I wanted to touch on the messaging, the inviting.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that are new coaches, I really, and I know Alana agrees with this. I think she just kind of mentioned it as something to mention. But I really, 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 really advise against cold invites. And this is something that a lot of the coaches will talk about, but I've actually experienced personally from other businesses lately, where I get an ad and then I immediately get this like cold invite to, It Works or, some makeup brand or some skincare product or something. And it feels so grimy. It's just very grimy to me. And I know we're all excited about Beachbody. We know that it works. We're all seeing great results. But other people haven't experienced the joy of Beachbody yet. So to them, it's going to be just like any of these other companies. And if I've received these cold invites, and I've been doing coaching now for, quite a while, I imagine that these other people have received, cold invites from other companies as well. So the second you do those cold invites, they're going to lump you right into, the MLM, pile that they don't like, and immediately shut you down. And then after that, it's going to be real hard to dig yourself out of that hole to build a relationship with them, because they're going to immediately think that any conversation you have with them is because you're trying to sell something to them. So just be super, super careful. And it doesn't take much to build a relationship with some people. Go to their page and look at one of their last posts and just comment something on it. And then, you follow up with a conversation privately about whatever that topic is. Or if they like or comment on one of your posts, you can, spark up a conversation with them privately about that as well. But I would really suggest against, just cold inviting people that you don't know, because that's going to be a surefire way to lose engagement with people.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And you're totally right. It's hard to reconnect with people after that, because I've gone back and like opened up my chat from people that I had done that before, and I'm like, ooh, what do I even say to this person? Because like I see that they saw it and just never responded. And something you can do is just say, I mean, you could almost just be like, hey, I don't know, you could say something like, I realized I was a little straightforward with you in the last message, and then just start up you could just say something, you could like apologize and dig yourself out if you wanted to. That's always an opportunity to kind of like Riley, what are you doing? You could definitely try that, or just kind of start up a new conversation. Just pretend like you never even did it and be like, hey, I love that post you did about bleh, or thanks for commenting on my post, or whatever it happened to be. So
that's what I've done. Is I just I hop right into a message as if it had nothing to do, because it doesn't. If you're truly reaching out and you're making a connection with someone, it doesn't need to have anything to do with Beachbody, and
right.
just jump in as if it
just
is just purely that you're trying to start conversation.
Yeah exactly. And that's
Riley wants to show you the bruise that he got from headbutting me today.
I mean, baby bruises.
Oh my goodness. What? He just said baby.
Baby. Riley.
He's never said that before.
That's awesome.
This is what Beachbody does, folks. No, I'm just kidding.
Riley, does your head hurt?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure his head does hurt. We had to give him some Motrin. He was doing this like squinty eye and like opening his eyes. I don't think it hurts nearly as bad as he hurt me, but
yeah. Oh boy.
And now he just wants to play with my phone.
Yeah, of course. Anything else that I missed, Amber or Michelle? Any questions?
I don't think so. You pretty much hit on everything. The part about, sorry, I'm gonna like stutter like I have an issue. The whole part about timing, giving yourself a set amount of time, I think is what, and not just I'm giving myself 60 minutes. I'm giving myself 5 minutes to add new people. I'm giving myself 15 minutes to send out invites. I'm giving myself 15 minutes to follow up. All of those things, you would be amazed by how much more you get done, how much more efficient you are when you're on the clock like that. And really then that leaves the rest of your day to just hop in like once or twice and just follow up on messages that people, happen to send back to you, and then throwing a couple posts out there. I have definitely fallen guilty into trying to work all day on my phone. And it really robs from these guys, and my husband and whatnot when you do that. And I know it's really exciting and you want to share, especially when you're having really good progress. But it's really better off if you knock out the vital behaviors during a power hour, and then just once or twice hop on. I mean, I do some stuff pretty quick. We were at the mall yesterday. I did snap up a few quick pictures and posted them on Instagram's Insta stories, because those are so much faster. You don't have to put a post with it or explain anything, just a quick picture with a quick little caption and go. The nice thing about Instagram is your Insta stories count towards your engagement. So they count those as if you had made a full post. So if you post once a day plus 5 Insta story quick little pictures on Instagram's algorithm, it's as if you had posted 6 or 7 times on your regular page. I'm not sure about Facebook algorithms. I don't know if the Facebook stories count. I have mine set up to automatically, whatever goes to Instagram also goes to my Facebook. So, I mean, I have seen increased engagement since doing that. So I don't know, it might work there as well, but
I wonder if
that,
because it used to be that Facebook would not bump Instagram posts.
yeah, not your actual posts, but the the Facebook stories.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I'm talking about. Yeah. So my Instagram posts do not automatically go to my Facebook. Anything, if I'm going to put it both places, I do that manually, which doesn't take very long if you just copy your post from the one and paste it to the other. But for the most part, I'm very calculated about what I put on Instagram, because everything you post to Instagram goes onto your like feed, which is really easy to see. So I keep a lot of, I mean, anybody can go look at my page and you can kind of see how mine's set up, because I do something kind of, funky. But my, if a photo's not going to fall in, or a video's not going to fall into the style of what my Instagram is, I leave it off there and I just put it on my Facebook.
Yeah.
But Ilana's right. If you have your Instagram set up to automatically transfer to Facebook, Facebook does not that algorithm does not recognize that as a individual post, and it won't boost it. So you want to make sure that anything that you're putting that you want to go from Instagram to Facebook, you just do it manually, and then it will actually put it at the top of people's feeds.
Yeah. Good.
It's also the same thing with sharing. If you like something, don't share it. If you're at least not if you're trying to get it to boost your engagement, actually like post it yourself, like copy it and then open a new post for yourself, because it doesn't recognize shared posts either. So
right, which is funny because like you want people to share your stuff, but then I don't understand that. Like people always say, when people share your things, that's great for you, but maybe that's just with a like page. I'm not really sure.
I don't know.
Here we are diving off in the weeds, but that's fine.
So this is why Power Hour is so important.
Yeah, set your timers.
Just don't go all in left field like Ilana and I do every week. Mondays at 8:30.
That's right. It's Amber and Ilana in a weed show. Not in that way. Off in the weeds show. Oh, man. Okay. I don't even have a concussion, so,
Yeah, I've got a slight excuse just this week.
Oh, boy. So I think that is all that I have. This week, I think 5 nights this week, starting at 9, so it started 8 minutes ago. Beachbody Champions is doing another, so last week they did the Power Hour with like each of 5 coaches did their Power Hour breakdown. And this week, there's another series, a training series that's going on, so it's the Beachbody Champions page every night this week at 9 p.m. Eastern. And there's going to be another training series. They do these occasionally, and they're really awesome. So keep an eye out for those. And I think because it's Team Cup this month, they're doing one every week. So I believe they're going to do another one next week as well for the last week. So that's that. Well, Michelle, thanks for hopping on. It's good to see you. And Amber, go get some rest and yeah,
I'm gonna try.
Okay. Are you okay? Are they letting you work? We can end the call. We can.
They're letting me. I go back to work on Thursday if I'm not confused anymore. So,
okay.
Brain rest it is. I'm not allowed to work out. I'm not allowed to watch action movies. I'm not allowed to play video games. Anything that is brain stimulus, I'm not allowed to do. I know. That's like the only way to fix, it literally is like a shock to the brain. So the brain has to like rest and recover. It sucks.
That's crazy. Well, be careful.
No gangster rap to my Power Hour, I guess. No headbanging.
Please don't do that. Okay.
I always do that between every invite. No, I'm just kidding, guys.
I'm good. Well, I'll take a break from that too. All right. Well, thank you guys. And see you next week. And don't forget to check in to the Team Cup page, and because we've still got things going every day for you, for challenges and for suggestions and for post suggestions, and so all that good stuff. So have a great evening, and talk to you guys
Bye,
soon.
Kira. Bye.
Bye, Kira.
Bye.